Hello and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator for the first time in, I believe, just over 8 months. It has been quite a while since I have flown in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Some things have changed. I have a new graphics card. I have rudder pedals. I have a new flight stick. Actually, I think I may have had that flight stick before. I'm not entirely certain. I have a throttle quadrant. I may have had that before as well. I'm not entirely certain. But I have not had the opportunity to play this due to recording issues, due to timing constraints, and due to some graphical problems and computer problems that I've been having for quite a while, which has been plaguing me and has resulted in me not being able to actually record that many videos. But I'm hoping that this one at the very least works. It may not. This is going to be a video in which I try to relearn how to fly an aircraft and figure out, I suppose, how to fly an aircraft, practice, get a bit of practice. I'm currently at, if I open up Navigraph, I hope Navigraph works. I did sign in earlier, so this should still be working. Yes, although it wants, for some reason, it's putting me in Oslo. Right, I am currently here at Manston Airfield, near Margate and Ramsgate, and that area of England, an area of England that I have never actually flown in. The plan today is to take off from Manston. I wish to then fly, take that away, I wish to fly over Canterbury. I want to see if the cathedral is modelled. From there, I'm going to probably follow the A2. I believe that is the A2. I'll follow the A2 down all the way to Dover. We're going to have a look at the White Cliffs of Dover. Go across to Folkestone. See what the Channel Tunnel area is like. See what all of that is like. And then the plan is to land over here, Echo Golf Mike Delta, Lydd Airfield, or Lydd Airport, just south of New Romney. Now I know where New Romney is. If you watch my Transport Fever 2 video, or series, the UK series, that was, I think, the only place that I did not know where it actually was in the UK. So there we go. Now I know where New Romney is. Now, with all of this, if I do put the VFR map up, you will see that there are some restrictions, but I should be clear of all of them. This area is the Dover offshore area that you see here, this pink area. That goes up to, I cannot remember what, but it is from ground level, and I will be flying in that area. This area here, underneath 5,500 or 3,500 in some places, we should be perfectly all right. It should tell me there 6,500 on this side, and I think it is 5,500 on the opposite side. There it is, 5,500. I do not need to worry. I'm only going to be flying at about 2,000 feet. We are flying completely VFR, so the plan is just to stay in this area and for me to try to relearn how to fly an aircraft, or get some practice once again, and see what I need to improve on as time goes on, because I do want to make more of these videos, and I want to try to get used to flying aircraft again, and I need to get used to all of these new controls. So make sure you stay tuned. Let's get started, and hopefully this does not go too badly. Although if you are looking for high quality, fantastic flying with perfection in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I apologize, this is not going to be the video for that. Okay, I do have head tracking on this particular video, so that is going to be quite useful, especially when I want to look out in different places. But if you hear my voice just sort of fade off just a little, you will know exactly why that has happened. I'm just trying to figure out why I'm not able to look further out that window, though. Sometimes this head tracking is just a bit of a faff, a bit of a pain. Maybe if I move just a smidge closer, it might be a little bit more useful. A touch. Unfortunately, it looks like that is all I'm going to get today out of that window. That window appears to be fine. Well, that is fine because the cliffs will be on that side. Okay, going through the checklist, I'm not going to point out everything that I am going through because I've done that before in a tutorial video for this, but I'm just going to start going through all the different bits. So, parking brake is set, emergency gear handle I'm not going to care about, avionics breakers are all in, throttle is closed, prop is high RPM and mixture is full rich, cowl flaps are open, aileron trim is centered, alternate air is off, firewall valve, I have no idea where that is, but I'm going to assume it is push, landing gear is down, sub-panel switches are all off. Good. Load meter is on primary. Main breakers are all in. Fuel tank is on left main. Alternate static air, normal. Carbon monoxide detector. Check. Fuel selector, yes, I've done that. Beacon lights can go on. Battery master now goes on. Voltage is 23 volts. Auxiliary fuel pump. Oh, actually, before I do that, alternator can go on. Standby alternator can go on. Annunciators can be can be put into test. How do I test these? There's supposed to be a test button somewhere on this. I just cannot remember where it is. Clearly, I've not flown. You can see I've not flown this aircraft in a long time. Where is the test button for this? There is a test button somewhere. I'm going to ignore that one just for now, until I remember where the test button is, and then I will go ahead and do that if I remember that. Right, all of that is done. I need to make sure I can hear the fuel pump, which I can. That's fine. Switch that off. Standby gyro pump goes on. That is illuminated. Good. Instrument air is green. Pump goes off. Excellent. It is going to be a cold start, so let's go for a cold startup. Hang on. Oh yeah, that would help. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fuel pump can go off. I'll bring that back and we will attempt to start this engine. Now this is where things always go wrong. But this time it started on my first try. Great. Right, throttles can sit about there. That looks okay. After starting, right, I need to put my nav lights on. That's the nav lights. I should really switch the nav and strobe lights around so that it matches this. But that is something for later. Taxi lights go on. Avionics can all go on. Good. Weather radar is fine. That is fine. It's 22 degrees in the cabin. I'll open the window for now. That looks all okay. Oil pressures are in the green. Oil temperatures coming up. Everything looks fine there. Instrument air is fine. Tanks are okay. Alternator load is fine. Bus voltage is fine. Lights, taxi light is on. I'll switch on the panel lighting just so it looks a little nicer. We'll go ahead and say okay to that. Probably not going to be using this at all, but just in case, we should probably have it on. I can go to the map. How do I get to that? never remember that. Go over there. Normally I do not tend to use the Garmin units, it's just I just use these old KX155s in aircraft like this, but that is okay. Air conditioning as desired, we do not need that just yet. Pitot heat will not be required today, we are staying out of the clouds. Speaking of which, it does appear that the clouds are better. I'm also getting trying to figure out exactly how to get this to work properly. I'm not sure why it is being so annoying, but flaps can go down. I'm just going to check ailerons. Good. Good. Can I check the elevator? Yep. I'm not going to be able to check the elevator on that side, annoyingly. Just a bit of a pain. I guess I could zoom out just a little. That might help me a bit. Potentially. Let's go ahead and lean the aircraft so I do not foul the plugs or anything like that. And we are going to leave it lean for the taxi. So, taxi. Let's have a look at the charts and figure out exactly where we need to go. Why does it keep putting me in Oslo? I'm a little confused. I know that is where, or in Norway. So we're going to pop out here and then follow taxiway Bravo all the way down to Bravo 2 and then take off runway 28, shall we? That seems reasonable. Should not need the entire length of the runway, so I'll just go all the way down Bravo, and then from there, that will be where I need to go. Okay. Avionics, everything is set. That is on. Pressure, let's go ahead and change our barometric pressure to what it is. So today's barometric pressure is 1031. So that gives us the correct altitude for the airfield. Good. And I think we are pretty much good for the taxi. So go ahead and release the parking brakes. And off we go. I think I'm just following, as I said, following this particular taxiway along. What I will do is I'll probably stop at... I'll find somewhere to stop. Maybe just hold in front of the runway, just to do my run up. So we'll stop at Bravo 2, I think. Yeah, let's just stop here. This will do. Parking brake engaged. Let's go ahead and do the run-up. So, enunciated, test and consider, I'm not going to worry about that. Mixture can go to full rich. I'm going to put the throttle to about 1,700-ish. Just a touch more. There we go. That will do. No, not there. That will do. Good. We're going to exercise the propeller until we get a 300 RPM drop. That is working. Okay. Up we go again. Mag check. No more than 150 RPM drop. Looks okay. Back up we go. Right, looking okay. I'm not going to do a check of the load meters on this I could do a whole bunch of other checks, but I'm not going to do that. Autopilot check is not going to be done today either, because I am not actually going to be using the autopilot at all. Flaps they're all working. I've checked everything like that. Windows can be closed. Strobe lights should probably now go on. Landing lights can go on. Taxi lights can go off. Elevator trim set to takeoff. I think we are okay as far as I know. Everything else seems to be alright. So, as I said, we just have to climb, and hopefully after climbing, just not failing. That is the plan. So, let's release that. It's a little bit warm, I think. And we'll bring the throttles down. Turn, turn, turn. Oh dear. Well, there's my first mistake. Coming onto the runway a bit too quickly. Let's go ahead and get the takeoff roll. Gear up. Not too bad. Bring the propeller back from the firewall. There we go. And I think let's climb to 2,000 feet. I'm a little bit concerned about the fuel flow. I'll be honest, there's quite a wobble on the fuel flow, and I'm a little bit concerned about that at the moment. Straighten the aircraft up. I'm not sure what that wobble is all about. But let's go ahead and do our turn towards Canterbury. So there should be a road that I can follow. That should be pretty much in front of me. I think I see it. And we'll bring the flaps in as we accelerate. Bring that nose down. The fuel flow there's something interesting going on with the fuel flow. And I think we can also now slow the aircraft down, or slow our throttle, and start trying to trim for... Ooh, not like that. Come on. Trying to trim correctly here, while still trying to navigate and figure out where we are and what road we should be following. I think the road is the road directly in front of me, so I'm just going to follow that straight into Canterbury. Having to put some trim to lift the nose as we start slowing down. Not quite as much as that. The trim in this aircraft is... I say the trim in this aircraft is strange. No, I think the trim in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I've always said this, is a little sluggish. So you cannot trim as quickly as you would perhaps want to. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to now pull that back to 2,100. There we go. And bring the mixture down. And I'm not going to do this properly, so that there is a proper way of doing this, but I'm not doing that. It does appear to be a little bit of buffeting here. I am struggling to keep the aircraft exactly where I want it to be. It's around 2,000 feet, but this is not perfect. And I am adjusting the trims as I go to try to do a better job here. As we settle into our cruise. I say cruise, it isn't really going to be much in the way of cruising, but yes. So how far to Canterbury? We should be coming up, in fact this should be Canterbury right here, so we should be looking for a cathedral and then that road out. So I'll turn slightly out this way, turn in, have a look around, see if there is anything to see. Oh yeah, there's the cathedral right there, Canterbury Cathedral. Lovely. Now, which road do I want? Oh, I cannot look that way and that's causing me problems. That's the road. I see Dover as well. Slow down a bit. And dip the nose a bit. Just to keep this balanced. $18 degrees in the cabin, which is absolutely fine. I am a little bit higher than I want to be though, so let's go grab the old Roman road and start following that down to Dover. Now when I get to Dover, I think what I'm going to do is oh, that's France. I can see France as well. I'm also continuing to climb for some reason. Stop climbing. Whoa. And then that went into a very sudden descent. Okay. So that's okay. Practice. Now it could be that I just have to add some very slight dead zone to my flight stick. Maybe I'm just not used to how sensitive this flight stick is, and it is just small movements that is causing me to do this. Now we are coming up to the cliffs of Dover, of course. So my question is going to be, what is going to be the best way for me to have a look at the cliffs of Dover? I think what I should do is I should go across. So right now I'm following the A2, I believe. Instead what I should do is I should go across to St Margaret's and then turn in over the cliffs. I could do that. I could just do that. Apparently still climbing. Should really be watching that. 17 degrees. Let's put a bit of cabin heat on. There we go. Now into our descent back down towards 2,000 feet. I think I'm slightly trimmed for a climb, so I'm just going to adjust that. Maybe that will help me. I'll drop the throttle as well, just to continue that descent and keep our speed down and then come back up. So the cliffs are just here. There we go. Getting back down to the correct speed and the correct altitude. Now I've never landed at Lydd, so it is going to be interesting for me to land there. So I think what I will try to do is I'm going to try and let's head towards, I think that is St Margaret's just there. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to fall into a pattern, so fall into its circuit and then land at the airfield, so I know how best to approach it. So if we just go north of St Margaret's, there we go. Oh, and now this is trimmed for a descent. Let's bring that up. Come on. Better-ish. Nope, now it's climbing. So I think one of the problems that I do have is that I have no feedback on my flight controller as to what sort of pressure I need to be putting. So on a real aircraft, when you have the yoke in your hand and you are adjusting the trim, you will feel the back pressure change, and that gives you an idea of how much pressure you need. And when that pressure effectively becomes nothing, you know you are trimmed for exactly whatever you are doing. Just going to just popped a little bit more throttle in just there, being blown around a little. Not the easiest of aircraft to fly right now for me. I'm not sure if it is the weather conditions or just me. Now, because for some reason I'm having difficulty looking left, what I'm going to do is when I fall into the pattern, I'll fall in so that I will be landing with a right hand turns as opposed to left hand turns. So it'll be a right hand circuit. I could possibly take the more pitch out of the prop and actually drop the prop RPM even further. But I think this is all right. Okay, we should be able to see the cliffs now as we go around here. Stop ballooning. Stop ballooning. .23 degrees in the cabin. I'll switch that off. Okay. Keep turning at a 20-degree bank angle. Lift the nose a bit now. We should get a good view of the cliffs as we come around. There they are. No, stop going even lower. I know I want a good view of the cliffs, but not quite there. Okay, So this entire area, as we go along around there, we should see the cliffs. I lift the nose ever so slightly. Let's get ourselves back up to 2000. So, what am I learning so far about my flying? I can still fly an aircraft, but I seem to be struggling in keeping altitude right now, which is dangerous. So definitely want to work on figuring that one out. I think it's just a matter of getting this trimmed correctly. There we go. That appears to be a little better. And obviously, as I accelerate, it will have small adjustments will need to be made. And there are the cliffs. There are the White Cliffs of Dover. Now, obviously, I have to focus on flying the aircraft, but you will get to see them if the compass gets out of the way. There we go. Take a screenshot, perhaps, whilst trying to still fly an aircraft. Should see them if I straighten the aircraft now. We lean over, you can just about see them. And then, as I said, after that, we're going to fly over. In fact, can I do an active pause here? I wonder if I can do this and actually get a... Yes, I can. That is not a bad... That's actually a pretty good... screenshot opportunity. If I do that to manual though and get this correct, I can tilt. Let's see. Oh, that could work. No, not quite like that. Maybe that? There's potential there. Maybe just zoom in a little less and then do that. Okay. There's one screenshot. I will probably take another just to be a bit more certain. I could get the aircraft to... I could do this. If possible. No, bad screenshot. Bad screenshot. Back to this, and hopefully when I come out of active pause nothing goes wrong. Surprisingly, nothing has gone wrong. Shocking. That's the port of Dover. Actually, I think I may have just got this. This could just be because I'm now over the water. There's no airflow over the hills that is pushing me about, and everything has just become quite easy. Because I'm not having any trouble now flying at this speed, this altitude. Everything appears to be very smooth. Might try one more shot if possible. From maybe this angle. How do I rotate? There we go. So that is potentially a fairly good shot if I get the zoom right on this. That potentially doesn't look quite as the way I want it to. That might look a little better. But then the White Cliffs of Dover will look wrong. Or look wrong, they're all out of focus, they don't look wrong. There we go, that will do. Back inside we go, and I think that is good enough for the thumbnails. Now, next stop, going to fly over Folkestone, which should be just dead ahead. In fact, I could see it. And then from there, we just bring ourselves into Lydd. And Lydd is, I think the runway that I'm going to be landing on should be runway 2, think about the wind direction, probably runway 03. In which case I should be alright to get myself into a right-hand pattern very easily for it. Just climbed ever so slightly, but it's going to bring that back down now. It is a very hilly area. A very, very hilly area. I think I see the Channel Tunnel terminal right there, potentially. And it is only a few moments to Lydd from here. So maybe 5 minutes at most, at the speed that we are travelling. So Lydd will be just there, I believe. So let me see, as I come over Folkestone, I wonder if suddenly everything will start buffeting around, and I'll start finding it more difficult to keep the aircraft at a suitable altitude. Potentially, there's potential for that. Right, in over Folkestone. It's good, about 140 knots, approximately. Outside temperature is what? 20 degrees? 18 degrees. 18, 20 degrees. So if I were to actually do this properly, I would have this at about there. So we are doing about 150 knots true airspeed, or just under 150 knots, 145. So this is Folkestone. Just turn in that direction, and immediately, yes, we do have an updraft. Interesting. That's the Channel Tunnel. Fairly accurate. Obviously satellite imagery. So what I'm now going to do is I need to first of all figure out exactly what this airfield is like. So see that little sticky outy bit just there? That is where the airfield is. So I need to find out a little bit more information. So it's at 13 feet, so that is fine. So what I'm going to do is should I stay above the water or go back in towards, let's go back towards just over the coastline, and we'll just hang around over the coastline itself. At the moment we're slightly off. Temperature is okay up here. And we have accelerated a little, but that isn't a problem. There's the airfield, I can see it. Airport in sight. It's just a matter of actually landing. I could, in theory, just take it. So I could turn in now, cut across, and then that will allow me to land fairly reasonably, I would say. See, there's the runway. So what I could do is I can actually start descending. So if I descend now to 1,000 feet, let's start getting a descent going to 1,000 feet, and let's slow down to 120. Let's bring that mixture all the way up, and we'll begin a descent. I mean, if I were descending right now at this speed, I could just make the runway. The wind is not too bad. This is a very light wind. Should I just go for the runway? Let me try it. I'm not sure this is such a good idea though, because I think I'm flying with a tailwind. I'm fairly sure I'm flying with a tailwind. And I'm going very quickly. But I might just be able to bring this aircraft down very nicely onto the runway. This will be surprising if it works. Slowly bring the props up to max. Bring the throttle down so we can start getting the flaps in. Bad idea. Yeah, I know the gear is up, do not worry. Gear down. Flaps, stage 1. Lined up on final. Okay, that is a little surprising. This is a little surprising. So the reason I'm doing this is because I believe the wind is effectively almost a crosswind. And it is very, very light. So I'm not too fussed about that. Slightly high here. Stage 2 of flaps. There we go. That is better. Get this trim into a good position. 80 knots is the speed I'm targeting. Not 85, 80. I know I'm a little low, that's okay. If I manage to land this fairly decently, I will be quite surprised. I've just managed to land an aircraft for the first time in I don't know how many months, and it was almost perfect. I am surprised. I'm actually extremely surprised. Well, there we go. That is my first landing. Probably should not have turned out this way, but that's okay. This will do. Look, there are some light aircraft there. Should have waited for the next taxiway. But I could make it. You can see how the windsock is barely blowing, and it is pretty much a crosswind. So what we'll do is I will go just park it. Now, where are you going, Volkswagen? I want to bring my aircraft right here. This is where I want my plane. Yes, next to you. Let's bring the plane right next to you. I am surprised that I've managed to do that and not really bin it. Okay, that is pretty good. Now all I've got to do is go ahead and, I suppose, shut the aircraft down and end this particular video. So I think that is a fairly good spot to end. I'll go ahead and switch these off. How do you switch these off again? Do I have to go all the way around on this? There we go. Switch that off. Switch that off. Whoops. Switch that off. That can go off. Switch that off. Just going around switching off all the avionics. Oh, come on. Stop. Just do the click and drag. It's a bit slower, but it works a little better. I believe that's all the avionics off. Do that. Switch off the landing light. Switch off my strobe lights. Those two can remain on for now. Panel lights go off. That looks okay. Now all I've got to do is switch the avionics master. Did I switch that off? I think I have. Yes, there's only two that's still on. Mixture throttle can be closed. That's completely closed. Mixture goes idle cut off. That stop. Those things do stop very suddenly. I wouldn't have thought they would normally stop so suddenly. Mags go off. Beacon and nav lights can go off. And 1, 2, and final check of all systems. We are okay. I actually left that on one tank as well, although there wasn't that much of a discrepancy in the tank. So I only used an eighth of a tank of fuel. If I was going longer, I should have swapped over to another tank. Say if I was going all the way down to, I don't know, Portsmouth or something like that, I'd have to swap over to the second tank to balance that out. Battery goes off, and I believe that is that done. So, and parking brake can be released. There we go. I suppose chocks would then go on at that point. I will end the video there. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to click on the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on Microsoft Flight Simulator. I am going to be doing more. I think the next video, what I will do is probably some crosswind, intentional crosswind circuits. Try to get my landing a little bit more on the center line, because that one was a little off and it was only a light breeze. So I do need to improve on that, or just do, maybe before even doing that, just standard circuits with no wind. That might be a good idea. So make sure you stay tuned for those. Leave a comment in the comments box below letting me know what you think. Any suggestions you have for flights that I could take. I do have a few jets. The BAE 146 by Just Flight, that is one that I want to start flying again. And of course the PMDG 737 I also have. So I can do flights potentially up to 4 hours long. It's just a matter of whether or not I have the time to do that. Those 4 hour flights. That generally is why I do not fly jets. If I have a 4 hour slot, I could potentially do it. If you can do so, please do consider supporting me on Patreon. Link in the description box below, as are links to my social media and Discord server. That is all from me. I never did find the light test button. I know it is in here somewhere, because I've used it before, but I did not find it. So there we go. Never did test any of the annunciator lights, unless that is the... No, that's an little alarm. There is a... I think it's tucked down here somewhere. Potentially. Or is it somewhere around here? Not sure. Anyway, that is all from me, and I shall see you next time in Microsoft Flight Simulator.